Right. Welcome to the channel. Today I have one of my clients, Adrian, who's a fitness coach, and he is an absolute weapon. And he's seen a lot of progress in a few short months. And today we're going to kind of just dive into that, pick it apart, reflect on it, and provide a lot of value to show you how he went from kind of floating around like 28 to 30K a month to just cracking his first ever 50K a month last month. And so, Adrian, welcome to the channel, brother. It's an honor.
What's going on? Thanks for having me.
So, dude, give us a little bit of a background. Before we started working together, you're doing, yeah, let's say 25, 30K a month, give or take. What were you doing and how are you getting clients? And ultimately, like, what led you to look for something else?
So, I don't know if you remember this. I reached out to you, Jeremy, maybe back in October or November or something. So, and I didn't start with Summit till I think July. So, there was a long period there where I was just going through your content, consuming everything. And back then, basically, when I reached out to Jeremy, we had been doing about 20K a month, and then we had a lot of things kind of break in our system. And we went down to coming in December doing like seven. And I thought I was going to lose the business. And that was when I kind of reached out to Jeremy for like a cry for help. And after talking to him a little bit through the DMs, I kind of realized, okay, I can figure this stuff out on my own for a little bit and then be able to afford the investment to work with you. And fast forward, I basically dialed back in on the marketing, put as much into that as I can, started learning more about setting through watching your content. I actually had a VA that would help me with reaching out to some people and just finding our dream client, which is something that you talk about a lot, finding that exact specific person that you want to work with and that you love to work with. And that's the people that are going to see the best results. And so I dialed in on that, trying to figure out who our dream client was, where to find them, where to source them from. And then we got up from doing, that 7K at the start of December all the way into July, coming up doing about 25, 30K a month every single month. And that was partially due to the outreaching that we were doing. I was learning more about setting. I'd been doing it for a few years before that and just kind of dialing in and figuring out what our best process was. Because the thing when it comes to setting is it's great. You can get to meet some people, but no one wants to spend the whole day in the DMs having a 30, 40 text message back conversation. And so I tried to figure out a way that was efficient, but also help people get to their goals. And so I dialed that in. And then in July, I was literally just hanging out one day with my friends and I was talking about Jeremy and I said, guys, should I make the investment? Should I not do it? And they were like, do it, man. Do it, do it, do it. Because I was tired of seeing all these other coaches that I had known really well, who I thought that I had a better brand than and thought that I had a better offer than starting to pass me in revenue. And that kind of didn't sit well with me because I'm a naturally very competitive guy and you want to see everybody else win. But I was like, I just felt like I was better than that. And I was lacking the tools and the resources to get started. And so in the beginning, it was just trying to dial in the setting. And then that one day I literally messaged you at like, I think midnight. I said like, hey, send me the payment link, brother. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I need to to get the contact info from your friends and thank them for giving a little push there. But that's awesome, man. That's incredible because yeah, I know like one of the themes in business is that there's always seasons, right? There's highs and lows. And usually like when we're in a low, it doesn't feel good. It's not fun. It sucks. But that's exactly the kind of like pain that we need to fix things. It can be a signal as well and to kind of do things a little bit differently. And I know I've gone through a lot of highs and lows and yourself as well. And so let's kind of talk about that a little bit. So joined in July and then from there started seeing some really solid growth and then talk to us a little bit about what happened after that, kind of the next couple months.
So right before I joined Jeremy's program, I hired another CSM. So I have a fitness offer, and we basically help take others who are advanced in fitness and take them to the next level. So we work with a lot of competitors, a lot of bodybuilding, and a lot of extreme fat loss. And part of that requires a lot of one-on-one work with the individual. And it got to a point where I was managing a lot of clients myself, and I realized, okay, if I need to grow this thing, I need to hire somebody. And I'd had a CSM before that didn't do a too great job with things and ended up losing a lot of clients. Felt like my reputation was kind of, going through the gutter. And so I was really careful about the way that I hired somebody and put a lot of effort into the hiring process. Well, they got in and started, growing with the brand, getting things going. Once we got Jeremy to help us out with the setting and the advertising side of things, we blew up. We went from doing 30K a month. And I think in my first 7 weeks in the program, we did, I want to say it was like 51K in revenue that month. And it was a static. It was like every week I was sending a win after win after win. And then the next month comes around. And the next month we start struggling with a few things. We started running another ad that we really didn't put too much time into it and probably put a little more money into it than we weren't, ideally probably should have. And we ended up losing a lot of cash on that side. I hosted a retreat. I went on vacation because I was like, hey, things are going good. We're growing. And I didn't realize that I wasn't fully at that point to be removed from the business, which is what Jeremy teaches us to eventually get to a point where you go from being just an owner and like everything you're doing is in the business to actually becoming an operator and managing other people. And so that kind of let us take a big step back. And I think the next month so it would have been August, I want to say it was our big month, that big 51K month. And the next month in September, we did like 28 grand or something. And the thing was the overhead was crazy because we held a retreat and I kind of went in the gutter for a lot for that. And that retreat cost me like 12 or 13 grand for all that. And it was just a big learning curve. And I remember going through that and our CSM that we had worked with, he decided to go a different direction with things he had going on with his family. And so then I was sitting there one day, realizing without a 2 weeks notice saying, okay, I have 50 clients that need one-on-one help that need a new CSM the next day. And so I had to take full step back from focusing on the marketing and the ads and learning my growth as a leader to say, okay, I need to get somebody hired. And I made a rash decision and hired somebody not too quickly, or actually very quickly, and did not consult with Jeremy about that. And that didn't work out. And that guy left within about a day. And so then I said, okay, it's 8 p.m. at night. I'm sitting on my couch. I got to have a new CSM fully trained, ready to go by tomorrow morning because I have 50 clients that haven't heard anything and they don't even know what's going on. And so called my sales guy and I said, what do we do? I reached out to Jeremy. I reached out to Eduardo, their CSM, and I said, what do we do? And they just said, start dialing. So I started calling all the guys that I had previous interviews with, and I ended up reaching out to a guy was a previous past client of mine and talked to him about the offer, got him hired up, got him trained up in a day, and then boom, everything has been smooth sailing since then. And the main thing that like taught me too through that big like lesson of bunch of growth, dropping it all and saying, oh my gosh, I don't have an employee. What am I going to do here? It's something you talk about a lot. It's being proactive, not reactive. So preparing for the future problems. Because just like you said, you have highs and lows in business. You're going to have those months where everybody's making sales, especially the sales setting team. They're feeling crazy. The morale's crazy high. Everyone's having a great time. And then you go through a week period where it's just you're not getting as many leads coming in. Maybe an ad isn't performing as well. Maybe an employee is having a rough time at home and they need a break, right? Or maybe somebody's getting overwhelmed and you got to be able to prepare for those situations. And that's what that taught me. And so now everything I do is planning for the future. And the big lesson I learned from that was being more of a visionary in business and not saying, okay, hey, let's get to 50K a month. Because the second time I hit 50 grand a month was the following month after that. I actually hit 56. So we hit a previous record and we booked the most calls we ever had in a month. We had the most revenue, had the most cash collected. What else did we do? We had the most signups. We signed up 29 people in a month. Like every single thing we broke that last month coming after that big low. And it taught me to, hey, we're hitting 50 grand a month. That's a great milestone. What's next? Enjoy it for a small period and then figure out how we can utilize that to grow and prepare for the future and be proactive for those situations coming up too.
Incredible, man. So joined in July, 51K in August, down to 28 in September, which I want to say as well, isn't it a pretty cool feeling when your old, like your previous like good months become like a horrible month where everything is going wrong?
Oh yeah. You always talk about new highs, right? It's like you hit your new
Yeah,
level and it's like that becomes your standard and you have to figure out a way to get past it. And a lot of it's you got to learn. You just probably don't have the skills.
100%. Yeah. And then so now right now, where things are at, just coming out of another huge month, 56 last month in October. And you have an incredible problem right now where you almost have too many sales calls because your closer just left to focus on something else, like running his own business and stuff like that too, right? That happens as a leader. That's something we just got to deal with and whatnot, right? And team members, they come, they go, and that's
Mhm.
okay. So now you're building a new sales team, hire a new closer and everything like that, and you have too many calls in the calendar. What's kind of like your mindset right now? Because like I know you're one of those guys who's not afraid to roll up his sleeves, get his hands dirty, and get scrappy and make it happen, right? You hop back on the phones, closing again. You sign up a whole bunch of clients as well this week already, and ready to just kind of make things happen. So what's kind of like your mindset from here on out, kind of riding the high and the momentum of a big month, but then also kind of having to like rebuild the sales side from here on out as well.
So it's investment of time, right? And that comes from investment of time into yourself and investment of time into other people and investment of cash into your business too. And so I feel like that's something I would say I've done decently well so far is I'm not afraid to like front money or front time to a skill or something else to help us grow quicker or put time into somebody else because it's a risk. If you hire somebody, you could train them up for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month, right? And they may just take it and run the other way. You have no idea. So you take a risk there. But with getting all these calls in, my last closer left, we had kind of planned for that for about a month of him leaving. And I didn't realize the call volume we were going to have. We train a lot of influencers and they bring us a lot of people. And since we do bodybuilding competitions, we get a pretty good reputation through that. And even with just the advertising, our set are getting better and better every single month, our organics going crazy too. And so my mindset was, hey, this guy's leaving. I think we can fix some things in our sales process and learn some new things, try some different things out and do some testing. Why not? I'll take the calls. I'm the most educated person to take it in the business. My sales closing percentage is awesome. And it'd be nice to use the extra revenue. Maybe invest some more into ads, pay yourself a little bit more, be great. I did it for a day and a half and I said, because I realized that I had 8 calls booked in one day. And on my third call, I said, okay, if I'm going to take these sales calls, yeah, maybe I can build more cash this month and that's great for me, but where does that leave my team? And the thing is when you have other guys on your roster, especially guys working on a commission base, like a setter and a closer, or even for us, a coach, like they get paid per client that they're coaching. If you aren't consistently growing like them as well, and you're not focused on their goals, they're going to leave or they're going to be trying to stick it out with you for so long that you're going to put them in a rough spot. So you're not just thinking about yourself anymore. You're not just thinking of being that one guy trying to manage everything. You got to worry about other people, and now you're responsible for them. And so
Dude,
I had to take a step back, and I said, all right, if I do this, what's going to happen to our marketing? I didn't post for a few days, didn't have any plans to do it. Looked at my calendar, I said, I am booked. So funny enough, I had a guy come in who was one of our previous clients who recently just started working with us, went to a couple of his competitions, me and him vibed it out. And I said, this guy's killer with talking to people. Talked to him about it, found out he had a background in sales. I said, you want to get started tomorrow? He said, yeah. So why not? We just got off of like 2 days of training and he's already rocking and rolling with stuff. And that's the thing. You can't be afraid to like take those chances with yourself too, with bringing somebody in on such short notice. And yeah, there's probably a few calls that maybe could go another direction that we may lose as potential clients, or maybe follow-ups that shouldn't be follow-ups. But you're pouring time into the individual and he's going to get better over time. And all that does for me is allows me to get time back in my day to pour more into the business, pour more into the marketing, pour more into the ads, pour more into my skills to read books that you've recommended or join meetings that you're doing or just learn from anybody else. And that allows me to further my skills to eventually further the business. So right now it's time. What can I do with my time? And just like you said, it was my first week in your program. You said read Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. All right, transfer audit fill. So if you have a 10-hour workday, you get 6 hours back, not just 6 hours to go play around, maybe take an hour or two, right? But use the extra of it to figure out where you're lacking and figure out where to grow. So that's what I'm trying to do now.
I love that. A couple of really, really important points there about time, which you just nailed at the end there, but then also about like leadership. And as you build a team, it's like you're responsible for everybody. And so like you were kind of faced with that decision point where it's like, okay, I could take the calls and whatnot, but you realize that that was kind of just a short-term band-aid over a bullet hole solution, right? Because then your setter wouldn't be making as much money because then probably a few weeks from now, if you're not marketing, the calls will drop a little bit, the ROAS will probably go down a little bit as well. And then like the ship might start sinking a little bit. And same with like your CSM, if they're paid on like a per client basis, then like they work with probably fewer clients over the long term too. So it could actually hurt them. So it's it's one of those things where it's like it's really you have a lot of responsibility as you grow, especially as you grow a team. And there's a lot of like weight on your shoulders. And I think that it takes a very special kind of person to have that mentality that you have to really just step up and not back down when things get hard. And so I just want to like say that I admire that about you because I know that you're just like you're so selfless and you're just you care so much about other people and like I can see that very clearly. So that's incredible, man. And yeah, never lose that. That's a sign of an incredible leader. So
I
um
appreciate it, man. Hey, I get it from a good mentor.
and I get it from very good ones as well. But on that note too, like on a very tactical level. So making the jump from like let's say 30K a month to 50 some a month. So like nearly doubling the business and literally like and you did that twice pretty much from like
Mhm.
July to August and then September to October. Like what were some of the levers that you pulled? Like what unlocked that? Was it simply like blasting ads to just get more qualified leads? Was it something about dialing in the messaging to get more of like the dream clients coming through? Was it the setting process? Was it the sales? Was it a little bit of everything? Like on a very tactical level, can you like break it down a little bit to kind of just like pinpoint like what were those huge needle movers for you?
Yeah, so it definitely a little bit of everything when it comes into all that. So the first thing was my mindset was I had to break the cycle. So I looked at our revenue chart from every single month, and since I've started business, I've had my company Ascend for 2.5 years, and I've been doing this for five. I rebranded halfway through. And every single 4 months, I've basically gone like this. I go up, I hit a big high, and then I drop back down, not to where I was before, but close to it. And then I go back up 4 months later on that fourth month and I higher, and I come back down. And so when I had that 50K month, the first one, I was like, okay, this is gonna be rough the next month. And what happened, I did the exact same thing and I went back down. And I had to sit there and look at the numbers as they were leading up to the end of the month, just stressed out. And I was like, I'm not gonna let this happen again because I could hit 48, but that puts me at the same exact spot. So I made it a mission to get past it. And so the first thing with it is as an owner, you see the revenue, you know everything that's going on in the business. And it can get very easy to get very attached to the number side of things. And when things don't go your way, it can really take down your morale. And that gets naturally shown to everybody else too, which can bring down the team's morale. And so that was something that I was dealing with. So I said, you know what? I'm going to stop focusing on any kind of numbers this month. And this is the second month that I'm hitting 50K. I said, I'm just going to focus on my inputs. So what can I do to get this growing? So the first thing is do better training. When I lost my first CSM, we ended up reviewing a bunch of the work, getting all these clients, and I said, "Oh my gosh, this is not the way that things should be done." And I had to take a step back and go, "All right, was it that guy's fault or is it my fault? Could I have trained him better? I probably could have trained him better." And so I looked at that and I said, "Okay, everyone who's working with me right now, we've been doing like weekly one-on-one meetings, not really taking this serious, not really focused crazy on like the EODs, like here and there." And I said, all right, scrap all that. Everyone's having a call with me and we're going over everything. And I'm taking an approach of, hey, I'm not going to do your job for you, but these calls is going to be, how can I help you be better? How can we get more output for your day? And so those calls that they have are 30-minute one-on-ones. And for the new guy that we brought on, I trained him daily for 4 weeks, every single day. And now he's down to like 3 days a week. Right. Our setter, I started taking more accountability with that too. Trying to get him on more calls as well with even the summit team, get his skills to develop further. And every time we took a call, it was, hey man, this is your 30 minutes. Ask me whatever you need. How can I help you do better? And so naturally, he started performing better too. Also, learning how to deal with burnout of employees as well. So setting sales jobs that you do kind of the same task over and over again can get tiresome. And it's a job where you want to make cash. And if the business isn't making a whole lot of cash, you're going to try and work harder to do it. And that just leads to burnout. And so that was something I was seeing from our team as well. And I was like, hey, that's something I've dealt with a lot myself. Gotten burnout before. And when the business was going down, it's kind of like you're just detached because you need a break. And so talking with them and sharing personal experiences with your team as well to help them through that, that was the tactical level to help with the morale of things. In regards to the advertising, I've actually ran one top of the funnel follower ad since I started with Jeremy. It's still running and it's still ripping. And so sometimes that we've had to reboost it. So if it starts hitting the wrong like target market, we're getting in the wrong people in our setting. And I say, okay, let's reboost it, see what happens. Ad still rips. I reboosted it twice. I ran a second ad, taking into account how did that first ad do? I personally am not like the biggest fan of the way I spoke in the ad. It was my first ad I ever posted. So I'm like, hey, might as well leave it up. It's doing well. So I said, how can I improve that? So I ran a second follower ad. And this would be, I think, my third or fourth one in the program. Ran that. That one started ripping because I videoed it in the same setting, the same background, with just a little bit different script in the beginning of the ad. And that one's been ripping too. So we put more money into ads, but we started at a lower budget this time. So instead of doing $100 a day on both top of the funnel ads, which is where we had that big drop that month, we started lower. I said, let's just do $50 a day, see what happens.
Hmm.
Let that. The next thing I did is I dialed it on the content. So I felt like I was kind of, with everything going on, I was getting a little stressed out, not posting as much. And I said, all right, what can I do that really just helps other people? Because we want to get them to see my profile, get a bunch of information. If they like it, awesome. If they need extra help, they can work with me. If not, then cool. I hope they learn something. So I tried dialing in more on that and then really promoting that retreat that we had too. And that led to more organic inflow. And then with clients that I work with in person, which is not something that I offer, I decided to go more above and beyond and actually go see people and
Hmm.
record those sessions with others. And that allowed for more explosive growth as well. So to sum it up, it'd be training the team more, spending more time with them, figuring out their pains and how to accomplish that with them, dialing on the ads a little bit more, figuring out more ways to track, and also dialing more in meta, and then dialing on the content. And the last thing too would be learning. And I kid you not, like I didn't really hop on any calls that 1 month. We had a rough month because I felt like I was everywhere.
Mhm.
And you sent something in the chat one day. You're like, guys, this is really important for y'all to hop on these calls. I don't think I've asked a question on a call in a while. But when you're on calls with communities, you can just see what other people are doing in their business. And whether you think it's good, bad, or excellent, you can go and take something from that question or take something from what they're doing in a completely different offer and apply that to what you're doing as well. Then you can also network with people in the communities too, and you can build relationships there and they can help out when needed too. So that was another big thing, was spending more time on my own education.
That's huge. I find like the quality of my content gets so much better when I'm putting good inputs into my head too. When I'm
Mhm.
continually learning every single day too, then like the outputs also maintain that standard. Kind of touch on the community there. Like, what impact did the community have on your growth? Did it have any like was there something about like seeing other guys crushing it, showing you what's possible, or like just directly connecting with them and like seeing what's possible? Like what did that do to you that you didn't really may or maybe may not have expected beforehand?
So getting into your program, I'm very fortunate and very blessed to have a really good community down here. My girlfriend is a insane fitness coach. She's incredible. She's been doing business for about the same time I have. My two best friends are also their business owners, and they've been starting in the last 2 years and seeing pretty explosive growth as well. But the problem that I love those people to death, but I feel like I've been like leading the pack for a while, right? And we all have different strengths in different areas where we all apply and help each other. But in regards to just being in business a little bit longer, it's been tough to find people to motivate me to say like what is possible. And so I kind of felt like, oh, I'm doing pretty well. Like we're doing 30 grand a month in the business. Isn't that awesome? We're doing insane. And then I get into this community and I go, oh man, that's like nothing. And it's a good milestone, but when you get around other literal sharks that are doing 100 grand a month plus, it shows you what you can do, right? Even if it's another offer, you look at that and you go, okay, how do I get there? And then you figure out the blueprint from that. And so the big impactful thing for me was actually the wins channel. And so seeing the wins daily, or when you send the wins on Friday of everybody, I was like, I'm gonna make it to the top of that list one day. I'm gonna make it to the top list. I think I did. The last one you sent, I finally did. I was like, let's go.
Literally.
I was just like, I'm just gonna share as many wins as I can. And it's cool because as a business owner, like you're seeing everything at the top line revenue. And like when you have big wins financially, like you do want to share that with people, but it's tough to share that with everyone. And a lot of people don't receive it well. And so having a community that's focused on the same mission in their own personal brand allows for just a really good area to share that. And so that was motivating to see other people doing that. And then in regards to the other channels, like your appointment setting channel or your sales channel, people ask questions in there too. And then others will answer, and you're like, oh, never thought about that. Why don't I apply that to my offer? Why don't I apply that to my script? And then the big thing for me was actually sales, funny enough, which is what I'm in now. So we've been like doing a lot of like sharing screens, kind of like showing them through the program. And I've been doing that for like 2.5 years because it's worked well. It's fine. It was what I was taught in the beginning and what I
Yeah,
figured out worked best. And I've gone through like the Alex Hormozzi's closure framework several times. And I was like, yeah, this works fine. But after getting into seeing what other people are doing or hopping on calls with Austin, it was just like, it was like, oh, I get it now. I see why they're having so much more success. And so that's why it allowed us to rewrite our whole sales script and test it out today. Felt flawless. And it felt like it was way more about the person than just showing something. And you don't want to come across as like, yeah, I'm just trying to sell you something. You want to come across as trying to help somebody at the end of the day. And so getting into that too and seeing what other people were asking helped me like rewrite a lot of things on our end and continue to grow forward too.
that's awesome, man. That's incredible. I appreciate you really just like breaking everything down in a lot of detail too, because like for the people watching, it's going to be hopefully very tactical and very like applicable where they can just kind of take a lot of these gems and just apply it and get some results. Um, so with that said, like looking back, looking back, like where you were at like a year ago versus where things are at right now, like what are some of the things that you noticed just in yourself as a leader and entrepreneur that you've developed over the last like year or so, or even just the last few months?
I'd say time management is probably the biggest one. So every year you have like that busy season, and right now is kind of when I'm in it. And so last year I just felt like I was like a headless chicken running around. Like it was call. I was missing things. I was late to things. Like I did not know how to schedule out a calendar by any means. So I would say now it's time management and like actually writing down literally everything you do in a day. So like what time are you waking up? When are you taking a shower? When are you like for me like scripture is very important and like my face like when am I reading the Bible, when am I taking calls, and like auditing all those things together to actually get the most out of your day because they require different energies, and like when you're going to spend time with family, when you're going to spend time with your girlfriend, whatever it may be. So that helped me a lot in the last year with actually figuring out time management. And I would say the big one, which is still tough, is leadership. So I think that was the first question I actually ever asked you on a call. I was like, hey, how do you lead a team on like a team meeting? Because there's not a whole lot of stuff out there, at least from what I've found so far, on how to become a good leader, because everyone does it differently.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a right or wrong way to do it, but you do want to make sure that you are motivating and you're leading by example. And so part of that is figuring out how to be a better leader with our team and what we can do to help them out and, see how they can grow too and putting them first. So that's been a big growth. And then I would say the last thing is workload, like what I can manage in a day. Like
Mm.
now I feel like I'm crushing 4 days of work in like 8 hours versus, sometimes you're going through those long seasons and like it feels like it takes you 4 days to do one day of work. So I just feel like as you grow more, like you systematize some more things, you figure out, what works, what doesn't. And a big part of that has been the time management of things, learning how to lead, and being able to manage more in a day than you typically could before. So yeah, I feel like you just level up.
That's awesome. So from here on out, like what's next for you? What are the next 12 months gonna look like?
Next 12 months, next year, I think we'll do 1 million. I guess I could take that back. Next year we will do 1 million. That's the plan. So going through your program, it's like I literally have the blueprint on how to do $100,000 a month. And I remember one of your clients, Adam, good friend of mine.
Hmm.
Um, Me and him, this is actually how he heard about you. We went to Scottsdale to visit Nick, another one of your clients,
Yeah.
and just learn a little bit about business that week. And Adam and I went and hiked to the top of this mountain one day, and we were sitting up there, and we just learned a bunch of value. And we're like, dude, we're gonna hit a 50 grand a month this year. And I was doing like 20 back then. He was probably doing, maybe 10, 15 or something. And we hit it on the same month together, which was dope. And back then 50 grand felt like insane. And 100 grand felt absolutely nuts. Now it's like it's right there. It just takes the time to get there.
Mm,
And so I know exactly what to do. So next year I want to do 1 million in the business. And visionary wise, we want to be able to have like at least 15 coaches managing, 50 to 100 people. So I want to have a big brand with a lot of people that we can help. And when people think of online fitness training or online coaching, the first thing they think of is Ascend Coaching. And so that's what I do. I want to build the brand and help as many people as we can.
that's awesome, man. Adam's got an incredible story too. And
Mhm.
when I have an interview when we were in Marbella, Spain in September, a couple months ago. And remember when he joined like 4 months before, when he was, yeah, like you said, he was doing like 10, 15 a month. He's like, by the time that comes, he's like, I will prove to you that I belong there and I will hit 50K. And then you guys both just smoked it. So that's super cool, man. But yeah, I think that's an incredible vision, man. Like, and what's going to be really cool too is like as you focus on building the brand and like just creating that vision, the money's going to come. The money's going to come as a byproduct. And especially after a certain point, like I feel like we're very similar in the sense of like our itches are scratched for the most part. And now it's just about building something incredible and the impact that that has. And yeah, it's going to be really, really cool to watch where you take things from here on out. So, um, with that said, is there anything else that you would like to share? Anything else that was really insightful, impactful that we haven't covered yet today that you wish you knew sooner?
Yeah, I would say take the chance. Like investing in yourself, we take consults and we take sales calls all the time. We deal with the price objection where like you're one decision away from changing your life forever. Right. And you can do it on your own. That's fine. It's probably going to take you 5 times as long. But if you want to get to the next level, you have to go through that period where you figure out your own stuff to be able to invest in that person or that group or that community to get you to the next level. And yeah, is it freaky putting down that money? Yeah. Do you feel like maybe a little buyer's remorse have to do it? Probably. But trust the process. Make sure if you choose to work with anybody that you do your research, find out that they're a good dude or a good woman, and take a chance on yourself. Because I promise you, if you work hard and that person has helped other people see results, they will help you too.
Love it. Well, with that, man, I know you've got a hell of a busy day today, and so do I. So we'll wrap things up here, but I just want to say again, congratulations on all of your incredible success and just the journey that you've embarked on just over the last few months alongside me. It's just been a lot of fun, man. So congratulations. You're an absolute weapon. And yeah, again, I can't wait to see where you take it from here. So thanks for coming on the channel. Thanks for sharing your wisdom and your insight with us. And I look forward to the next one at 100K a month.
Let's do it, man. Let's get it going.
Hell yeah. All right, guys. Well, that said, if you want to get my help, links down below, booking a call, chat with us. We'll see if we can help you. So aside from that, see you in the next one.